Okay, someone just asked me a great question about one of my favorite topics, anger management. Do I believe in anger management? No, I don't. Anytime you try to manage or control your emotions like anger or anxiety or depression or whatever, they have a tendency to mushroom and get worse. I created a cognitive therapy, a daily program for our hospital in Philadelphia, and I used to go in once a week once the program got going. It happened every day, but I'd go in to teach once a week, and I'd direct the group, and the nurses would come and learn some of the techniques and so forth. And this one day, a patient came to the group, and he was very, very angry. And he said that he was here for some of the effing anger management. And he was clearly very angry. He took the mood test, where I have a short test for depression, suicide, anxiety, anger, and whatnot. And he was very upset, and his anger score was 100 out of 100. I asked him what had happened, what was he so angry about? And he said, well, he worked at a bank, and he had a lot of customers who would come in and whine and complain, and they were entitled and demanding extra services or wanting to fudge the rules or whatever. And he said that he finally got so pissed off at this one customer, he just threw caution to the wind. He was a wrestler in college, so he was a big 6'4" muscular guy, and he said he picked the customer up and threw him against the wall. Well, of course, this caused a huge reaction in the bank and commotion. They called the police, who came in, put him in handcuffs, and then instead of bringing him to be arrested, I think they realized he was on a kind of high, maybe bipolar or something, that he seemed a little off, and so instead they brought him to our hospital, and he was involuntarily hospitalized. And just within minutes of him being admitted to the inpatient unit, they sent him over for Dr. Burns's anger management group, and he came in with a real chip on his shoulder. Well, it wasn't an anger management group, and I don't ever try to do anger management. In fact, no matter what feelings a person has, one of the first keys to effective treatment is getting you to see if you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're ashamed, if you're angry, if you're lonely, hopeless, whatever, to see the beautiful things about your feelings rather than thinking they're bad and you have to control them or get rid of them. And so I told him, we'll call him Harry, just to disguise his name. I said, Harry, I'm with you. I think anger management is a stupid idea, and at least that's my point of view, and I've never done it and don't ever plan to do it. But instead, let's go in the opposite direction. Let's see if we can find some really positive, beautiful things about your anger and what you did in the bank. And I had a whiteboard, so I said, here, we can list them. What does this anger show about you that's really positive and awesome? And nobody in the group could think of anything. He couldn't think of anything, and that's so typical because our society has taught us to be ashamed of our negative feelings, that you're bad if you have powerful negative feelings. So I said, well, one thing that occurs to me, Harry, it looks to me like you're a man of tremendous conviction and courage and passion, that you feel things very, very strongly. Is that true? And he said, oh, absolutely. So I put, passion and courage and conviction. And then I said to him and to the group, what are some other beautiful things about Harry's anger? And then someone said, well, he has a strong moral compass. I said, absolutely. And is that a good thing, Harry? He says, oh, absolutely. I said, is that powerful to have a moral compass? He said, absolutely. I said, is that important? He said, absolutely. So I said, a strong moral compass. And then we started listing more and more things. And about halfway through, I said, to him, because I try to connect with people on a genuine human level. I said to him, Harry, I really kind of, I'm a psychiatrist. I'm not supposed to admit this, but I kind of admire what you did, because to tell you the truth, I have often wanted to pick someone up and throw them against a wall, but I don't think I'm big enough to do that. I never had the courage to do that, but I think that's impulse. That's awesome, because you acted on your convictions. And then he said, oh, absolutely. So we put that down. And by the end of the group, which was an hour and 20 minutes later, the group had come up with about 15 benefits and positive things and awesome, beautiful things of Harry's intense rage, his anger. And then at the end, I just did a simple, sincere, paradoxical intervention or conclusion. I said, Harry, you came in asking for anger management, but we just made a list of 15, and there are probably even more positive things about your anger and what you did in the bank. And are these things valid? Are they real? Harry says, oh, absolutely. And I said, are they powerful? He says, absolutely. Are they important? Absolutely. And so then I said, well, Harry, then I'm puzzled. Why in the world would we ever want to manage your anger? It makes no sense to me. And he says, doctor, you're absolutely right. And then I said, and now it's time for the end of the group, and I want all of you in the group to take that mood test again, including you, Harry. So everyone just took them 30 seconds to score their depression, their suicide, their anxiety, and their anger, and some other things. And then I said, how did you score on your anger, Harry? And he says, Dr. Burns, it's the strangest thing. My anger just disappeared completely. It went down to 0. So that, folks, is my anger unmanagement. And that might seem irresponsible to you or weird to you, but I do that with whatever negative feelings you have, and it's just the first step in a process. But it's a very deep form of empathy, and it allowed me to connect with Harry, and so he'll trust me and want to work with me when he takes the rest of the steps on his journey. But I always do that first, because you see, we've been trained by society to think your negative feelings are bad. If you're depressed, then you have some kind of mental disorder, or major depressive disorder, or dysthymic disorder. If you're anxious, you have a variety of disorders. And the problem with that, there's some value in categorizing the kinds of negative feelings you have, but the problem with that is it makes you ashamed. You think you're defective, and you need an expert to cure you or to fix what's wrong with you. And my approach is very different, to help you see that your negative feelings are positive and awesome, and reflecting what's most beautiful about you, not what's most effective about you. And when you do this, and when you really see it at an emotional level, not just a head trip, then recovery is generally just a stone's throw away. So that's today's little mini lecture on anger unmanagement. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a lot more where this came from.